Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, we hope you are all well and safe. And we are very glad to welcome you to this webinar regarding the IP4SME service implementation for beneficiaries of the 6th and 7th cutoffs. My name is Andrea Udrea, and I'm project manager at GoPacom, a communications agency in Brussels that is partner in the IP4SME consortium. Today, our webinar presenter will be Marco Graziadio from Parser, the IP4SME consortium leader. Throughout the webinar, please do not hesitate to write any questions in the question box. Your questions will be addressed at the end of the presentation. Regarding specific questions, this will be followed up individually by email by the IP4SME Coordination Center. And last but not least, we would like to remind you not to forget to activate the IP4SME services before 8 March for cutoff 6 and before 26 March for cutoff 7. So please enjoy the webinar, and Marco, you have now the floor.
Thank you very much, Andrea, for this nice presentation, and good afternoon to everybody, and welcome on board of this informative webinar we have organized together with GoPa.com in order to explain to you how to benefit the most from the support services we offered within IPA4SME program. As Andrea said, my name is Marco Graziadio, innovation consultant working for Parser, who is the coordination center of this project. And for today's presentation, I will use the guide we designed for the beneficiary who has been awarded support services within cutoff call 7. And after explaining you the most important information of the guide, which is for us, let's say, the Bible of this program, before answering to a possible question right in the question box, I will also use a presentation I prepared where I collected the most frequently asked questions we received in the course of this program. So before starting with the explanation of the most important information and before explaining you how to benefit from the services, let's say that it's important to emphasize that that the main goal of this project is that the European Commission strongly believes that the protection of the intellectual property is crucial for promoting innovation and for improving the competitiveness of the European small-medium enterprise. For these reasons, the main goal of the IPA4SME program is to facilitate and promote the use of intellectual property. And to do it, basically, we offer within this program financial and expert support in order to valorize and protect the intellectual properties of each small-medium enterprise, and also to help you to boost your business strategy always in terms of intellectual property. Can benefit of these services all small-medium enterprise who has received a seal of excellence from the Horizon 2020 Small-Medium Enterprise Instrument program. So before starting, also is really important to emphasize that for all the beneficiary, especially who has been awarded to receive more than one service, please keep in mind that you are not forced to follow any particular order in completing the services, which means that if, for example, you are a company that has received all the 3 support services, service 1, service 2, service 3, you can benefit of service 3 even if you did not complete or you did not benefit yet of services 1 or services 2. So a small-medium enterprise can make use of all the services in parallel or one after the other. This is extremely important, especially for the beneficiary who has been awarded with service 1 along with service 2 and or service 3, because again you can start to benefit from the co-financing services even if you still not complete the IP pre-diagnostic services. Another important information is regard to the use of the EMS, also renamed Electronic Submission System, since all the support services awarded will be managed through this platform. So you can easily access to the platform by logging into EMS and then visiting My Project section under the Malaria menu. You will find a private space specifically designed for you as beneficiary, where you can find information as regards to all the support services awarded, but also this is the space you can use, you have to use in order to upload all the important documentation to receive reimbursement. So as you can read in the guide, once you access on EMS, once you click on My Project section, you will find a new space called Go to Support Documentation under the action column. And once you click on this link, you will find a new area where basically it appears to you two specific sections. The first section that, in my point of view, is most important is support documentation, which is basically a place specifically designed for you to upload only the required documentation that support any subsequent reimbursement. So especially for the beneficiary who has been awarded with Service 2 or Service 3, please keep in mind that the only way to officialize and validate your reimbursement is to upload valid documentation through EMS. And then there is a second section called the reimbursement, that is a place only designed for beneficiary to provide the necessary financial information to receive any possible grant and complete the process. Please keep in mind that in case we validated one of the two co-financing service, you have later on upload the financial identification, which are your bank details, because this is then we can collect this information and make the transfer. So during the entire process, we will kindly ask you to complete a series of surveys as a part of your award. As you can see in the following table, there are summarized together with the time frame, which are the surveys that you must fill in. As you can see, there are the survey. You must answer to survey before and after the completion of the support services. And the first one that we usually ask you to complete is the IPA4SME self-assessment. That is the first survey that you have to complete before you can start to benefit from one of the services awarded. As regard to this self-assessment, please keep in mind that in case you have been awarded with more than one services, we just ask you to complete the IPA4SME self-assessment only one time. The guide, as you can see, also provides you a brief description of the scope of the surveys and the reason why we need to collect them. So let's move to the description of Service 1. Again, as I said before, this guide is a Bible for you because we collected all the important information you need to know in order to benefit of the services. I will skip some part of the guide because I would like to be more focused on what, in my point of view, is more important that you know. However, my strong recommendation is, once the webinar is concluded, my strong recommendation for you is to take care, to take a look to all the guide. And in case then you have some doubts or some uncertainties, please keep in mind that you can always contact us. We are here to answer you. So let's start with the description of Service 1, also renamed IP Pre-diagnostics Service or sometimes IP Scanning. Before to explain you how to benefit from these services, let's describe the scope of this service, where basically within service 1 we offered to you comprehensive IP pre-diagnostic service in order to boost your capabilities and competencies in terms of intellectual property. So we consider this service as a great opportunity to you to count on a qualified expert in the field of intellectual property and business strategy, with the aim at identifying both the advantage and potential opportunities of using intellectual property for future development of your businesses. Moreover, thanks to this service, beneficiaries have the opportunity to identify the main limitation and also possible area of development to strengthen the competencies, but again, always in terms or in the field of intellectual properties. And also you will receive at the end of this service also possible recommendation in order to boost to foster your business strategy in terms of intellectual property. So as the service work, as you can see, the workflow, the service 1 consists of 5 main steps. The first step is the completion of, as I said before, the IPA4SME self-assessment. That again you must complete the exercise, otherwise you cannot begin to benefit from this service. So once complete, after the completion of this survey, the coordination center will facilitate the initial contact between you as a beneficiary and the expert. As regard to the designation of the IP pre-diagnostic expert, please keep in mind that this process will differ slightly depending on the beneficiary country. So for all those small medium enterprises located in countries such as Austria, Denmark, France, Netherlands, Spain, the expert will be assigned directly by the national IP office. So in this case, you should have received at the beginning of the cutoff call 7 that started the 25 November 2020, an email from the national IP office, which basically you found information as regard to the expert assigned to you. So in this case, once we collected the IPA4SME self-assessment, we contact the national IP office, sending them the survey completed by you, and we ask them to assign you an expert. Instead, for all those SMEs located in countries like Greece, Latvia, Ireland, Italy, Sweden, and also Germany, we provide you, as already happened, a list of experts, or directly we assigned you a possible expert. So for all the small medium enterprises located in this country, at the beginning of the cutoff call, you received an email directly by the coordination center of the IPA4SME program, with sometimes a list of possible experts you can choose, or directly the qualified expert assigned to you. So once the expert has been assigned or chosen, beneficiary can start to schedule a possible meeting for the implementation of the service. So in this respect, I would like to inform you that since the outbreak of the virus, in some cases, both expert and beneficiary ask to schedule a video call meeting instead rather than face-to-face meeting. This is already happened during the last years, and what I would like to say is that I would like to emphasize that all the beneficiaries that received the IP diagnostic service by video call, at the end of the process, they were really satisfied of the services awarded. So please keep in mind that it's not a problem to complete the IP diagnostic service by call, rather than to schedule a face-to-face meeting. So as you can see, once you schedule a possible meeting with the expert, the IP pre-diagnostic service can start, and it consists of the following main steps. There is a first initial analysis of your environment. As regard to this, the survey, the IPA4SME self-assessment survey, is a part of the information that the expert need to collect in order to gain an initial understanding of your situation in terms of intellectual properties. Then there is the second step, that is the visit and interview, where basically the expert, when it's possible, visit you directly and conduct an in-depth interview which should last between 2 and 4 hours. And again, as I said before, the interview can be conducted in person or via video teleconferences. And then there is the final results, where basically the expert will deliver to you the results of the complete analysis in a confidential report, and also explain you the possible suggestion in order to boost your business strategy in terms of intellectual property. And again, she can do this either in person or via video teleconferences. So as regard to the report, again, please keep in mind that the report is totally confidential, so the only person can access on it are you as a beneficiary. And what you are going to obtain in this report is a clear diagnostic of your business in terms of intellectual properties, together with a clear overview of the opportunities and limitations to foster and boost the intellectual properties advantage and exploit possible benefit. Once you receive the final results, we kindly ask you to complete the second survey, that is also called the IPA4SME satisfaction survey, which will include questions regarding the overall satisfaction with the IP pre-diagnostics service. Please keep in mind that the completion of this survey is mandatory. Other important information as regard to the IP pre-diagnostic service is that there is a specific time frame within you have to complete the survey, the IP pre-diagnostic service. So please keep in mind that the IP pre-diagnostic service should be completed within 4 months of the date of communication of the support services awarded. That, again, as regard to the beneficiary who has been received the support services within cutoff call 7, was the date of the communication was the last 25 November 2020. Other important information before to move to the description of the two co-financing services is that, again, I would recommend you that before to schedule a possible meeting with the expert, to take in consideration that usually the meeting can take more than 3 hours. So before schedule a meeting, please consider this information, because then the expert must have all the time to conduct an in-depth interview, and he or she has the opportunity to do it only one time. So we can move now to the description of the two co-financing services, because, as you know, within this program, together with the IP pre-diagnostic service, we also offer two co-financing service. The first service that we usually call Service 2, but also renamed Partial Reimbursement of European Patent Office fees, is a service focused on providing you economic support to cover a percentage of the cost regarding a patent registration before the European Patent Office, which means namely that within this service we consider eligible only European patent registration process that, with the purpose of IPA4SME program, is defined as filing application for a patent before the EPO covering more than 2 European member states. We can consider eligible within this program also PCT patent, which are international patent, but the registration must be done always through the PO office. Therefore, please keep in mind that the cost for protect intellectual properties in countries that are abroad Europe are not covered. So again, our service cover exclusively European patent registration process. Through the service 2, as a beneficiary, you can receive the 75% of the IPO fee cost up to a maximum of euro 2,500 per single patent application. Each candidate, small medium enterprise, can request the co-financing of maximum 5 patents application within service 2. So again, please keep in mind that you can receive the 75% of the IPO fee cost up to a maximum of euro 2,500 per single patent application. So as you can see in the following picture, the workflow established for service 2 consists of 5 main steps. The first, as always, is a completion of the IPA4SME self-assessment. Then, in my point of view, there is the second and the third step that are the most important, because are the steps included in the activation of the service. Indeed, what is really important to emphasize that being awarded with service 2 and or service 3 does not mean that the service is active. To activate the service, beneficiary must provide us within 4 months of the date of the communication of award valid documentation. And as I said at the beginning of this presentation, the only way to validate and to activate a service is to provide and upload this documentation via the electronic submission system portal. Valid documentation consists of an invoice together with the corresponding proof of payment, which must meet specific requirements that we will be discussed soon. So, as you can see in the following figure, there is a specific time frame you establish for the activation of the service that I will explain you now. So basically, since you are a beneficiary of cutoff call 7, you received a communication, an email, the last 25 November 2020, when we basically notify you as regard to the services awarded. So we consider this date as the first date when the cutoff call 7 starts. From that day, you will have 4 months to activate the service, which means that you will have until the 25 March 2021 to provide us documentation to activate the service. As I said before, documentation means an invoice together with the corresponding proof of payment. Once you provide us valid documentation, and only once we validate the documentation, you can consider the service to active, which means that together with receiving a first Parser reimbursement of the cost included in the invoice that you provide us, you will have until the end of the project, which is the 31 December 2021, to provide us documentation always associated to the same patent application for request a second payment reimbursement. As a beneficiary, if you are not able to provide us documentation within the 4 months from the communication of award, you will be directly disqualified. Disqualified does not mean that you cannot participate again in one of our future cutoff calls. But again, as you can read in the guide, sorry to be repetitive, as a beneficiary of Service 1, you must activate your support within 4 months of the date of communication of award, that again for beneficiary of cutoff call 7 was the last 25 November 2020, sorry. And then again, once activate, as you can read here, you will have until the end of the IPA4SME project, which again is the 31 December 2021, to make to claim a second request for reimbursement. As I said before, please consider that as regard to the second request for reimbursement, you must provide us documentation always related to the same patent application through which you activate the service. So, for example, if I provide to the coordination center invoice and proof of payment as regard to a patent, let's call it patent Marco, and I activate the services through the patent Marco, I cannot use documentation regarding a patent called Andrea for claim a second request for reimbursement. Again, in case I would like to receive a second payment reimbursement, I must upload documentation regarding the patent Marco. Again, if a beneficiary does not activate the services awarded within 4 months, the support will be cancelled. And again, a beneficiary who have had a support service cancelled may reapply to the IPA4SME open call without any kind of penalization. However, and this is extremely important that you keep in mind, in the event that as a beneficiary you have been awarded with both Service 2 and Service 3 from the same cutoff call date, only for you the activation of either of the support services will automatically extend the time for the activation of the other service by an additional 4 months. So, going up again, as you can see in the figure, there is this service activation extension that can benefit only the beneficiary of both Service 2 and Service 3 within the same cutoff call, which basically explain you that in case, for example, you are able to activate Service 2 within the deadline, together with receiving the first payment reimbursement associated to Service 2, we also give you additionally 4 months to activate Service 3 in this case. So this means that you will have until the 25 July 2021 to provide us documentation for the activation of Service 3. As we will see later on, this specific time frame established for IPA4SME Service 2 is also valid for Service 3. So, what we need to collect from you in order to activate the service? So, as I said before, to activate the service, we must collect from you an invoice together with a corresponding proof of payment. So, as regard to the invoice, within Service 2, there can be two possible situations. Let's move with option A. The option A, that is also the most common, is when the EPO patent registration, or let's say also the PCT patent registration, is made by an IP patent attorney on behalf of the beneficiary company. In this case, you consider to validate the service, we must collect from you a valid IP patent invoice, and the reimbursement can be issued only when you provide us a valid IP patent attorney where the date, the invoice basically to be considered a valid date must be dated after the date of the communication of IPA4SME support, which is the 25 November 2020. Additionally, to qualify the reimbursement, the patent attorney invoice must include the following information. So the invoice must include the information as regards the name of the patent attorney, who provide you the service. Then the invoice must contain information as regards the patent application process, namely the title of the invention or the IP being protected. And also the invoice must clearly state which are the IPO debit order number covered during the filing process of the patent. This is because within IPA4SME program, we consider eligible to be reimbursed only the IPO debit order number included in the following table 2. Therefore, to validate again the invoice must clearly state which one of the IPO debit order number were covered during the filing process. In case the invoice lack of this information, we cannot validate the invoice. So I will repeat again this part, because so in case you decide to register your patent application through an IP patent attorney, in this case, to validate to activate service 2, we must collect from you a valid IP patent attorney invoice, which can be considered valid if the invoice is dated after the date of the communication of IPA4SME support, and the invoice includes information such as the name of the patent attorney, the patent application process, and the list of the IPO debit order number covered during the filing process. Together with the invoice, to activate the service, we must also collect from you the proof of payment. As you can read in the guide, the beneficiary must provide proof that the IP patent attorney invoice has been paid before Parser reimbursement can occur. We can consider eligible as proof of payment only bank transfer receipts which clearly indicate the name of the beneficiary, the IP patent attorney, and the invoice number. Only in this case we can accept the proof of payment as valid proof of payment. Also in this case, the date of the payment must be after the date of the communication of IPA4SME support. Indeed, in case you decide to register your patent, in case the IPO patent registration has been made directly by you as a beneficiary, which means that you do not ask the support of any IP patent attorney, in this case, in order to activate the service, we must collect from you a valid IPO debit order submission confirmation. In this case, beneficiary can only be reimbursed once they have the PDF document of the debit order submission confirmation released by the IPO online filing software. Please keep in mind, and this is really important, to be aware that to save or print the confirmation immediately after submitting the online debit order in the IPO online filing system, as you will not be able to do this later on. So, as regard to the valid EPO debit order submission confirmation, to be validated in this case, the only information that we must collect from you are the patent application process, together with information regarding the IPO debit order number or the IPO service fee covered during the filing process. Also in this case, as I said before, the only IPO fee eligible to be reimbursed are those included in Table 2. In case you decide to move by yourself in the registration process, please keep in mind that together with the valid IPO debit order submission confirmation, also in this case, we must collect from you a proof of payment, which means to provide us a bank transfer receipts, which clearly indicate, in this case, that you have already issued the payment to the IPO office. So as you can see, so to request Parser reimbursement, beneficiaries simply need to, in case we are on a situation A, which means when the IPO patent registration is made by an IP patent attorney, in this case, you must upload through EMS one or more valid invoices and corresponding proof of payment. While in case you decide to register the patent by yourself, in this case, to activate the service, you must upload one or more valid debit or the submission confirmation together with the proof of payment. Documents may be uploaded in a single PDF or zip file. When it's possible, what I recommend you is to upload all the necessary documentation to receive the reimbursement directly as a single PDF or zip file. This is just because you make the revision process easier. So, as I said before, in case you activate the service, which means that the documentation is valid, together with receiving a first reimbursement, you will have also the opportunity to claim a second payment reimbursement, and you will have time until the 31 December 2021. However, please keep in mind that service 2 reimbursement are limited to 2 requests. For these reasons, once you activate the service, please keep in mind that you will have only one other opportunity, always regarding to the same patent application, to provide us additional invoices and proof of payment. And as I said before, you can request reimbursement in 1 or 2 shots until you do not reach a reimbursement, a maximum reimbursement of euro 2,500 per single patent application. Once the reimbursement has been received from the coordination center, we will kindly ask you to upload always through EMS a signed confirmation using the model provided in the support documentation. The model will be made available to you automatically each time the beneficiary make a reimbursement request. So this is all about service 2. I can move now to the description of service 3, because within IPA4SME program, we also offered service 3, also renamed Parser reimbursement of IP patent attorney, where, as you can understand by yourself, within this service, we basically cover the cost for hiring an IP patent attorney. Please keep in mind that, as regard to service 3, we consider the cost for hiring an IP patent attorney always in the purpose of filing a European patent process, but as regard to the filing process, we consider eligible the cost of either preparing the filing for a European patent, but we can consider eligible also the cost in case you decide to discontinue an initial idea of patent application. Within this service, as a beneficiary, we cover 50% of the cost incurred up to a maximum of euro 2,000 per single patent application. As regard to service 3, please keep in mind that you can the number of patents for which you can receive financial support as regard to the IP patent attorney cost does not have any limitation, so you can apply all the times that you want in case you claim to receive to cover the IP patent attorney costs. So I will move quickly on this part since I already explained in depth how his work. The specific time frame established for service 2 is identical to service 3, but quickly again you received a communication of the awarded services awarded the last 25 November 2020, since you are a beneficiary of cutoff call 7. From that day you will have 4 months to activate service 3, which means that you will have until the 25 March 2021 to provide us a valid invoice together with a corresponding proof of payment in order to activate the service. In case the documentation is valid, the service can be activated, and once the service is activated, together with received a first partial reimbursement, you will have also the time until the 31 December 2021 to provide us documentation always related to the same patent application to claim a second payment reimbursement. However, additionally, in case you as a beneficiary who has been awarded with both service 2 and service 3 within the same cutoff call, in case you will be able to activate service 2 together with the first partial reimbursement, you will have also additionally 4 months to activate service 2. But again, the service activation extension is valid only for the beneficiary who has been awarded with both service 2 and service 3. So let's see what we need to collect from you in order to receive, in order to activate and then later on receive the reimbursement. As regard to service 3, there is only one possible situation, and in this case we need to collect from you, as I said before, a valid IP patent attorney invoice together with the corresponding proof of payment. As regard to the patent attorney invoice, beneficiary can be only reimbursed once they have one or more valid invoices from an IP patent attorney entitled to act before the EPO. So to be considered service 3, the invoice valid, the invoice must be issued by an IP patent attorney who appears on the EPO list of professional representatives, and additionally, the invoice must be issued after the date of the communication of IPA4SME support, which means that if we received invoices dated before the 25 November 2020, we are sorry, but we cannot consider that invoice valid. As regard to the IP patent attorney entitled to act before the EPO, please don't be worried, because usually almost 95% of the law firm, at least they have one person entitled to act before the EPO. So in case, for example, the person who is following you in the process of filing the European patent, in case this person is not entitled to act before the EPO, what you can do to receive the reimbursement is to provide us an invoice and add in the invoice the name of the patent attorney working for the same law firms that is entitled to act before the EPO. Together with this information, to validate the invoice, we must also, the invoice must contain information as regards surely the name of the patent attorney, the patent application process, and when it's possible, the EPO patent application number, or a statement regarding the decision to discontinue patent application process. Together with this invoice, as I said, as we see in service 2, we must collect from you also proof of payment, and also in this case, we can consider eligible only bank transfer receipts which clearly indicate the name of the beneficiary, the IP patent attorney, and the invoice number will be accepted. Also in this case, you have only documents may be uploaded in a single PDF or zip file, and also in this case, service 3 reimbursement are limited to 2 requests. Therefore, beneficiaries should be aware that once they have made a second request for reimbursement, will not be able to make additional requests, even if you have not reached the maximum reimbursement amount that, again, just to be reminded, is 2,000 euro per single patent application. Before to move to the frequently asked question, then take care of the question you wrote on the question box. There is another important rules that I would like to explain, which is basically that documents provided by the beneficiary to claim Parser reimbursement must only refer to and contain information about one single patent. Therefore, documentation containing information about several patents are not allowed, and this implies to be disqualified the whole payment request. So basically, in case you apply only once time, you can provide us documentation as regard to only one single patent. Therefore, in case you have more than one patent in the pipeline for which you claim to receive financial support, the only way to receive financial support within Service 2 and Service 3 for all these patents is to apply as many times as the number of the patent for which you want to receive the support. Which means that, for example, if I am the Parser company and I have 5 patents, if I want to receive financial support for all these 5 patents, I must apply 5 different times, and I can do this during the same cutoff call date or in different one. So, for example, I can apply 5 different times during cutoff call 7, or apply 2 times during cutoff call 7, 3 times during cutoff call 8, for example. But again, please keep in mind that each application is associated and must contain information about one single patent. Once you upload the documentation on EMS, as soon as possible, the coordination center will revise this documentation, and the coordination center is going to inform you in both cases, either if we validate the documentation, either the documentation is not valid. In case the documentation is not valid, please keep in mind that when it's possible, we will also explain you the reason why the documentation has been marked as invalid, and when it's possible, we will also offer you possible suggestions in order to validate the documentation. So, in the guides, you will also find information about the support services cancellation procedure in case you decide to cancel one of the service, together with the model statement of discontinuation of a patent application process in case you are benefiting from service 3 and you decide to discontinue the filing process of the patent. But also you will find at the end of the guide also the support service cancellation letter model in case you decide to not use the one of the IPA4SME support services awarded. Please keep in mind that at the end of this webinar, we will send you the guide for beneficiary that, again, we strongly recommend you to take care to read in depth. But we also send you information as regard, we will also send you the PowerPoint presentation regarding the frequently asked question that I'm going now to consider. Just give me a second to share the presentation. So everybody should be able to see my new screen. So as I said before, I prepared this presentation for you, where we basically collected the frequently asked question received during the first year and a half of the project. This presentation is just aimed to summarize again the information that I have already explained to you. So question number 1, is there any time limitation for justifying EPO and IP attorney fee after a small medium enterprise has been selected for support under IPA4SME? Yes, there is a specific time frame or time limitation that you must respect. So basically, beneficiary must activate the support services within 4 months of the date of the communication of the award. Once as activated, beneficiary will have until the end of the project to make a second request for reimbursement. If a beneficiary does not activate the service awarded within 4 months, the support will be cancelled. However, in the event that you are a beneficiary has been awarded with both Service 2 and Service 3 from the same cut-off call, the activation of either of the support services, Service 2 and or Service 3, will automatically extend the time for the activation of the other service by an additional 4 months, which means that since you are a beneficiary of cut-off call 7, you received the communication of award the last 25 November 2020, which means that you will have until the 25 March 2021 to activate at least one of the two services. And in case you will be able to activate, for example, Service 2, you will have until the 25 July 2021 to activate Service 3. This is valid also on the contrary. Then question number 2, I'm already working with an IP patent attorney. Are his or cost reimbursable? This is a question specifically regarding Service 3, and as I explained you before, for the IP patent attorney fee to be reimbursed, the person issuing the invoice must be a professional and entitled to act before the EPO, who has been hired by you for the purpose of preparing the filing of European patent, or at least a PCT patent application being drawn through the EPO. A list of the eligible IP patent attorney can be found in the following link, but also in the guide at page 20. But as I said before, don't be worried, because we will send you both presentation and guide. Question number 3. Are all the types of patents eligible to be subject for IPA4SME support? No, because our support exclusively covers European patent registration process, which for the purpose of IPA4SME is defined as filing an application for a patent before the EPO, covering more than 2 European member states. Therefore, costs for protect intellectual property in countries like, for example, USA, China, or Brazil are not eligible to be covered. Question number 4. What if a Service 3 beneficiary, small medium enterprise, does not have an EPO patent application number yet? It can be the case where beneficiary have received legal advice from an attorney for register a patent application, but since the process has not been completed yet, the beneficiary does not possess any EPO patent application number yet. If this is your case, to qualify the reimbursement, we just need to collect from you an IP patent attorney invoices, including information as regard to the name of the patent attorney and the title of the invention. This information will be enough for us. Question number 5. Is there any specific order for service implementation? In other words, if awarded with Service 2.1 and Service 2 and or Service 3, do small medium enterprise have to wait until the IP pre-diagnostic is finished to start benefiting for Parser reimbursement? As I explained you at the beginning of the presentation, no. There is not a specific order for the service implementation, which means that as a beneficiary, you can decide to benefit from the services in parallel or one after another. However, in case you has been awarded with Service 1 and one or both Service 2 and Service 3, what I strongly recommend you is to plan as soon as possible a meeting with the assigned or the chosen expert in order to obtain a clear overview of your current situation, but also to receive important information that maybe you can use, that can be useful but not essential to decide if it will be better for you as a company to start the filling process, which means that later on you can maybe receive documentation to activate Service 2 and Service 3. But again, you are free to decide with which support services you can start to benefit. Then, what is service activation? This is regard Service 2 and Service 3, because as I said to you before, being awarded with Service 2 and Service 3 does not mean that the services are activate. The only way to activate the service is to upload through EMS valid documentation. Valid documentation consists of an invoice and the corresponding proof of payment, or a EPO debit order submission confirmation and the corresponding proof of payment. Documentation must meet all the requirements, including the guide for beneficiary, to be validated. I will skip question number 7 because I said before we will send you directly the guide for beneficiary by email. So question number 8, is VAT subject of reimbursement? No, VAT costs are not taken into account for the reimbursement calculation. So please keep in mind that we do not consider VAT cost. Then question number 9, who should small medium enterprise contact if they need help with the application process or more information regarding IPA4SME? Please keep in mind that as a coordination center, we decided to put at your disposal to potential applicants or beneficiary 2 emails. You can contact us at calls@ipa4sme.eu, or you can contact us at helpdesk@ipa4sme.eu. As regard to contact us by email, please keep in mind that we do our best to answer you within 2 days. However, sometimes can happen that we are a little bit in delay depending on the number of emails we received every day, because honestly sometimes can happen that we receive more than 100 emails, so we don't have the physical time to answer to all of them. But sometimes can also happen that we do not receive your email because it is sent to the spam box. Therefore, what I suggest you, in case you do not receive any answer within 3-4 days, is to contact us again. So you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. The consortium, as Andrea explained before, but I will do again, consists of CARS as coordination leader, and then there is Università de Alicante y Gopa.com. Thank you very much to following me. I hope that everything was clear. I'm going now to take care of possible questions, hoping to be able to answer to all of them. Okay, there is only one question from Mr. Merad Serafi, who is asking me, at the time of the application, we were asked to submit the name of the attorney. Can we change that now when using the service? The answer, Mr. Serafi, is yes. Don't be worried if you include a name of an attorney during the application. It's not a mandatory to that the same person is that the person is the same that is following you during the registration of your patent. So don't be worried. You can provide us documentation, which is an invoice, also if appears a different name. Fortunately, this one was the last question, which I hope means that everything was clear. And again, first of all, thank you very much to following me. Second, I really hope that you, your family, and all your team is well and in good health, hoping for a better period. And again, in case you have some doubts or uncertainties, remember that you have at your disposal 2 emails. Before to quit this presentation, Mr. Serafi wrote me again, and he asking me, can we request to extend the 4 months activation period? Mr. Serafi, as I said you before, you cannot request because it's something that automatically is done, which means that once you activate one of the 2 services, you receive from the coordination center an email which clearly states you that we activate service 2, that you have additionally 4 months for the activation of the other service, and we also inform you as regard to exactly the amount of the reimbursement. So it's not a request, it's something that additionally happens. This was everything. Thank you very much again to give me your time to following me, and I hope for you a great day, and keep in touch. Bye.
Thank you very much, Marco, and everyone. Bye-bye.